Okay, so once you get here, you should have gone to Canvas. Good morning, Yvonne. Hand sanitizer and find a seat. You should have gone to Canvas, to our page. Canvas is a little slow today. Then you're going to lessons. I shouldn't have to do this every day, because regardless of whether you're here in the building or not, you should be doing this at home. Grades have already started to be posted from last week onto your PowerSchool page. Ratios and proportions, like it says in the banner. And then you're scrolling down to Monday. Once you're in Monday, first thing you do when you come in is go to your warm-up. If you're at home, you are clicking on live video lesson. So up there, I have the people that are at home that are on our live lesson, so they can hear what's going on in the classroom. They are a part of our class. They just don't come in the same day you guys do. That way they can see the lesson, they can hear the lesson, and they know what's going on in the classroom. So I recommend that you guys try to do the same thing. It's only during your block. So like you won't be able to get into second block's class. If you aren't ready for first block, then you'll just have to watch the recorded lesson, which won't be up until after first block. First thing you do when you come in, open your laptop, go to Canvas, and go to your warm-up. Warm-up is the first thing you're doing every morning when you come in here. If for some reason one of your questions isn't popping up, refresh your computer and it should work. I'm going to put a timer up on the screen. You're going to have about 15 minutes. And usually I like to start that timer at around 9:10 to make sure that you have time, but that we start everything else promptly. So yes, you can use your calculator. If you don't have it bookmark, make sure you're letting me know if you need help finding it. But you should be working on your warm-up at this point. Does anyone have a charger that we can borrow? So that if you don't bring it, we can swap it out for a new one. So that means if we can ask someone, I need you to do this. I'm sorry? I need you to do this. Huh? Let me see. Does the thing have one at home? Do you have one at home? Make sure your microphones are off. Can you see my screen now? Once you finish your warm-up, once you're finished with your warm-up, go ahead and go straight to our near-con link. For those of you who are at home, I would recommend making sure that you're doing your warm-up at this time too. That way I can answer any questions that you might have. I was like, where did she go? I like your glasses better. Oh. Yeah, it's like make sure if you need help, you're asking questions. Okay. And because that way you can ask me a question, even if I don't see it and you do see it, you should answer like this. Okay.
Please pardon the interruption. At this time, all buses are in. Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, so are people having trouble with number 2? Anybody? I have 1 person, 2, 3, 4 people that are being honest. Because if you're having trouble with it, I usually like to go over at least 1 problem after warm up. But for today, I'll go over 1 problem before you've turned it in. If the computer ever lets me get there. Okay, so the question says calculate the area. Can anyone remember what you need to do when you're looking for the area? Are we adding or multiplying? For what? We're multiplying. Perfect. So for area, you're multiplying length times width. So if my shape looks like this, and it has 7 up here, 20, 14, and 11. Are all those numbers right? Okay. So I need to find the area by multiplying. I cannot just multiply all these numbers together to get my answer. I'm going to have to break up my shape. So I'm going to break it up here, so I make 2 shapes. I know that this piece is 7. Now this whole side is 20. Does that mean that this little piece right here is 20? No, I don't know what it is. So I need to solve for that. But I do know that this piece down here is 11, so that means this piece here is 11. So what could I do with these 2 numbers to figure out what's left for the top piece? I can subtract. So I'm going to take 20 minus 11, which would give me what? 9. So 9 goes right here, and I'm going to see if this thing lets me erase a little bit and not like a gigantic number. It doesn't let me erase it all, so we're just going to cross them out. So I have 9 here and 11 there. So this shape is going to be 11 times 14, and this one is 7 times 9. So I want you to solve for 7 times 9 and 11 times 14. Okay, so what's 7 times 9? Because I know I didn't solve for it. I said you solve for it. You have your calculators up on your computers. What is it? 63. What about 11 times 14? Say it a little bit louder for me. 154. So now what do I need to do with these two numbers? Add them together. So 3 times 4 is? 3 plus 4. No one even fixes that. 7. 6 plus 5. 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1. 2. So my area is 217. So that's what we would do for any problem like that. Okay, you have a few more minutes to finish. Once you have finished, make sure to submit the quiz and then go look for today's Nearpod link. And so I need to figure out how to make it so that they automatically start getting admitted once class is started. So that I don't have to admit each one of them. You start for day one. I've always written instructions. are. Okay. Because most people should have it set up. So just stay there and I'll broadcast the code in a second. Okay, we have about less than 30 seconds left. Once that timer goes off, it needs to be submitted. Okay, go ahead and submit. And go ahead and come back here so that we can find our Nearpod link. I want to make sure everyone's there so that we know where we're going. Under Monday, Nearpod lesson. You should find a button that says Nearpod link. And you're clicking on that. If you don't have a code, that is okay. I will put it on the screen in a second. So once you click on Nearpod link right here, it'll take you to our lesson for today. So in Miss Clark's class, if you have her, you're going to have one link all week long. In my class, you have a different link every day because with math, there's more slides, so we couldn't fit it all in one link. If you don't have the code, go ahead and put it in. It's on the board. You're putting it under student where it says join for code, then put your name in. Just your first name is fine. Once you put in your code, you're putting in at least your first name. You don't have to put anything else, and you can click join lesson. Once you put in code and your name, click on join lesson. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Anyone still need the code? We're good? Okay, so you'll notice that as the slides change on my screen, they will change on your screen as well. So lesson 1 for ratios and proportions. Today's lesson is called One of These Things is Not Like the Others. Today and this week, yes, Miss Karen? Okay, I'll prop it back up. It's EW. Let me know when you're good. Hot in here. Right? Like maybe it's just me because I'm like walking around. Scholars will compute unit rates associated with ratios of fractions to solve real world and mathematical problems. So you should have all seen unit rates and ratios last year, and this was before we went virtual. So you should have some idea of what we're going to talk about. We're going to go over some vocabulary words. For your vocabulary words, we're going to be using them a lot. I'm going to go over them every day this week. You'll find them on the backboard of the room. You'll find the vocabulary words in your computer, on your lessons page. They are right there on the left-hand side. Ratio, a relationship between two quantities. So you'll see ratios written one of these two forms. 4 with the 2 dots and the 1, or 4/1. Unit rate. A unit rate, it's a rate with the second term of 1. So every time we're looking at unit rates, we want there to always be a 1 in there. It's not a unit rate unless there's a 1 in there. Ratio table. So we're going to be working with ratio tables a lot this week, next week, all year. So if you learn it well in the next week or two, you should be really good to go this year. Constant of proportionality. So you'll see me using unit rate and constant of proportionality interchangeably. So what that means is I might use constant of proportionality instead of the word or phrase unit rate. They mean the same thing. The unchanging value in a ratio of two proportional quantities. So I added some anchor charts in here. We're not going to go through them, but I do want you to know that you will find these also on your lesson page. They give examples of how to work from rates to unit rates, proportional relationships, tables, and I think I put that one in there twice. So let's remember what equivalent ratios are. So I have a short video on equivalent ratios, and I'm going to play it since I know some people are missing their headphones. Please make sure that you're bringing your headphones in next week. We're not going to play the whole thing.
In this lesson, we're going to talk about equivalent ratios. So let's say if we have the ratio 8:6 and 12:9. Are the two ratios equivalent to each other? What would you say? How can we tell? How can we find the answer? Well, there's two ways in which we can do so. First, we need to convert the ratio into a fraction. And then we could simplify the two fractions and see if they're equal to each other. If they are, then the ratios are equivalent to each other. The second option is to convert them to fractions, set the fractions equal to each other, and check to see if the cross products are the same. So let's start with the first method. 8:6 can be written as 8/6 as a fraction. Now, how can we reduce this fraction? 8 is basically 4 times 2. 6 is 3 times 2. So if we cancel a 2, we can reduce 8/6 to 4/3. Now, let's do the same with the other fraction, or the other ratio. 12:9 is the same as, or we can write it as 12/9. Now, both numbers are divisible by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So notice that both fractions simplify to the same result. So this means that these two ratios are equivalent to each other. Now let's talk about the second method.
Okay, so we're going to stop right there. So notice the main thing about this video is making sure that we notice that just because the ratio doesn't look the same initially, once you simplify it in order to figure out if they're equivalent, they both turn into the same thing. So 4/3, or it could have been 2/1. It doesn't matter what the n fraction is as long as they're the same. That means that they're equivalent. Now there's a second way to figure out if they're equivalent, and you might prefer this one to the first method.
So let's convert the ratios into fractions, and let's put an equal sign between the two fractions. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to cross multiply. So first, we're going to multiply 8 by 9. 8 times 9 is 72. Next, we're going to multiply 6 and 12. What is 6 times 12? If you add 12 6 times, what would you get? 10 times 6 is 60. 2 times 6 is 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. So notice that these two are the same. So therefore, these two ratios are equivalent to each other. And so that's two ways in which you could tell if two ratios are equivalent.
Okay, so that was our second way to figure out if the ratios were equivalent. You can cross multiply. Now, and I know we're new to each other, but I will say this a lot. Whichever method works for you is the best method. So if you find that cross multiplying is the best way for you to figure out how to do something, then you use that. If it's simplifying a fraction, then that's what works for you. I'll always show you several different methods to do something, but at the end, I want you to use what you feel the most comfortable using, okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to look at some double number lines. So I want you on your computer to go ahead and answer the question, what do you notice and what do you wonder? So I'm not going to let it so that we can see your answers on the screen. But I want you to look at that double number line and think to yourself, what do you notice between both of them? And what do you wonder? Do you notice equivalent ratios? Do you notice that some amount of crocodiles per hippos? I want you to think about what you're seeing there. And type it in. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds to write your thoughts down. What are you noticing? What do you wonder? I might wonder, what are we doing? What is the relationship between hippos and crocodiles? Is there a relationship? I don't know. This is a good opportunity for you to work on your complete sentences. Capital letters, period. You don't have to be reading class, but we're going to be practicing typing in here all year long. Did you see this slide? The line. The last one.
Yes. I was trying to be able to do this and stuff, and I wasn't sure. So, okay. Letting people do questions as well.
So I'm going to have that open all block. But I'm going to stop recording after the lesson. Okay, so 10 more seconds.
Okay, so video lesson 1, and that should take me to the
It
teams
should-
thing to join,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Is it, can I go straight into Teams into it? Like in my
Yeah,
part?
that should work too. If you click on printed block 1 and you click join, there's a little blue bar that
I just
says,
want to make sure I have more than one way in case it's not working. I do it.
okay, so I'm going to assume we're ready because I said 10 more seconds. So I'm going to do the whole hide name thing so that I don't want anybody to be embarrassed about, oh, that's what I typed. Okay, so there's less crocodiles than hippos. Good, I like that. Why are there 2 number lines? Why does it say hippos and crocodiles? I like that. I'm not going to read them all. Hippos increase by 4 and the crocodiles increase by 3. I noticed the hippos have more. It's going by 3s and 4s. Okay, good. So if we look at these, that's correct. We have 3 crocodiles for every 4 hippos, and then it's equivalent because as we increase, we have 6 crocodiles, 8 hippos, but that would still be 2 groups of 3 and then 2 groups of 4. So very, very nice. And now keep in mind, when I put up the answers, it's not just those of you who are in here, but also those of them that are at home. Okay, so for this question, it says complete the double number line diagram with the missing numbers. So I want you to take a look at that double number line. You don't have to fill in the words right now. I want you to just focus on seeing if you can fill in the number line. So you can either type it in or you can write it in with your mouse. Either way is fine. It looks bigger on your screen than it does on mine. And then we'll go through and do it together on the computer screen. What do you think? We want to make sure that it stays equivalent all the way down. And keep in mind also, it doesn't just have to be whole numbers. They can have fractions or decimals. So maybe there's a half in there or a 0.5. If you need help at some point, raise your hand. I'll come by and help you out. Maybe problem solve. That top number line has 0, and then it skips 1. 2, blank, 7. If I were to be counting the lines, 0, what number could come after 0 that comes before 2? What do you think, Alvin? That's what I was looking for. Perfect. That's perfect.
Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm not judging anybody on what it looks like. As long as I can read it, it doesn't matter.
Now, the ones that want to doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh, sure. Like at home when I record the lesson, I use my pen.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, so let's take a look. And even if you're not done, that's fine. So on this top number line, what would go after 0? What? 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that one made sense because it had all the numbers kind of laid out for you. Now that bottom number line, did anyone figure out what we have missing between the 0 and the 1? Did you figure it out? Okay, so what number comes between 0 and 1? What fraction? What do you think? 1/2. So you can write it as 1/2, or you can write it as 0.5. I'm not picky on whether it's one or the other one. So if I continue like that, I do 0, 1/2, 1, 1 and 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, and then 5. So we filled in all the blanks and our numbers made sense as we got to the end. So even if you're not done, we are going to continue because I know that that's tricky, especially on the first day of learning it. Okay, all you're doing on this one, if you're thinking back to the last table and we had 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like in our first double number line where it had crocodiles and hippos, what do you think would be good labels for this double number line? Sugar and coffee, sugar and cream. I mean, maybe coffee's on my mind this morning. Maybe you're thinking of something else. But I just want you to come up with 2 labels that would make sense for our double number line. So that shouldn't take more than 30 seconds. What do you think are 2 things that make sense? You can write it in or type it in. It's EWAOT. Okay, let's check it out. Oh, I saw some and then they disappeared. This one said dogs and cats. Why are we erasing our labels? That was a good one. Except when you think about it, can you have half a cat? Should be quicker. You think I can do answers? I definitely want to stick with sugar and cream. Half a spoon of sugar to 1 cream, or maybe the other way around because Miss Prentice likes more sugar than she likes cream. So half a little cup of those of cream to 1 spoonful of sugar. Half a cup of chocolate chips to 1 batter. Could be anything. Something that makes sense. Ooh, chips and cream. Yeah, tortilla chips and my salsa. That's a really good one. Soda and water. Some of these are healthy. Some of these are not so healthy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on whether you're finished or not. We got to make sure that we're doing these quick. Mystery mixtures. Mixture 1. We have 1.5 teaspoons of fruit punch mix to 1 cup of water. I want you to think about that when you see the pictures in a second. Then we have half a teaspoon of fruit punch mix to 2 cups of water. Now, do you think that one's going to taste as much as fruit punch as the first one did? Probably not. 1/4 a teaspoon of fruit punch mix and 1 cup of water. Which mixture do you think tastes different? So Looking at the colors on these, which one do you think would probably taste the best? Think about that for the next question. I want you to circle which one you think is stronger tasting. So to me, stronger tasting would probably be the one that's going to taste the best. So if you're looking at these, this was the first picture, this was the second picture, and this was the third picture. So just circle real quick. It should take 5 seconds. Which one do you think is the strongest tasting mixture? Nice. Remember to submit, because if you don't click submit, it doesn't turn green. So I have one person that thinks the first one is the strongest tasting, and that was the darkest colored one. So if I'm going to buy fruit punch at the store, I'd probably buy the one that was the strongest or the darkest color, because I like me some fruit punch. So 1 cup of water to 1 teaspoon of fruit mix. So remember, with that 1/4 a teaspoon, that makes the color really light, so it's not going to be as strong. Nicely done. So I see a couple people that clicked the submit button, but not everybody. Make sure you're clicking submit once you circled your answer. Okay, I was going to say. Okay, equivalent fractions. Time to climb. So if you have not had Miss Clark, then this will be a nice little fun new thing for you. So I'm going to go with underwater for our first game. So you're going to have 5 questions to answer, 45 seconds for each one. Go ahead and choose your character. Some of them said that they don't have this class. And I don't have names up there, so we won't, you'll know if you won. I won't know if you won. Underwater and space are my favorite. Okay, go. Eight people in here. Trying to get everybody an opportunity. Are we all good? Do we have our characters? I think this is a cute game. I love the giraffe. The internet's a little slow, so I apologize if it's like loading for forever. So find the equivalent expression. What is equivalent to 1/2? The quicker you find your answer, the more points you get. What is equivalent to 1/2? Now I want to know who the turtle is. I almost want to turn the names on. Can I turn the names on? Oh, it's not even in here. What's equivalent to 2/3? Nice job, Jose, by the way. Take it home. 2/3, what do you think? Nice. So many equivalent fractions to this. They go up by the same numbers. know if I gave away the answer because I don't remember. He's still winning. Yep, and Ruby. Where are you guys? Come on. What is equivalent to 4/5? Oh man. Yeah, here's catching up. He's now in 4th place. One A. And it's going to be good practice because you guys are going to be using equivalent fractions for your unit rates. That's going to make the timer less. I mean, you're putting too much time. Oh man. Ruby's beating Jose now. One more, 1/3. Might be something like 6. 3 9. 1.3. Decimal. Oh. That would be awesome. Oh man. Ruby won. Okay, so our last slide is basically just for you to click on, and it's going to take you to today's classwork. Once you click on that slide, it will take you to today's classwork assignment. Today, I didn't make it unit rate. Huh? I forgot, like a long time ago. Once you click on the page, I put in directions on how to do it. If anyone forgot how to find least common denominators, I also put a how-to video on that if you need it. And then down here is your assignment. Remember, you should have a submit button here. Click on least common denominator, it'll pop up. And then once you finish working it out, you go back and submit. So you can go ahead and work on it now until the end of class. If you finish it before and you'd like to work on something else, go right ahead.